How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today what we're going to be talking about are alt accounts. Are they overpowered in RuneScape 3? Can they give you a benefit, and should you personally have one or not? Since starting up my new alt account, I have had a different sort of thoughts on this topic, and I do feel like it could be quite a good topic to talk about, especially at the moment with the way a lot of things in game have been going. Anyway, let's talk about that. If you enjoy the video, leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Last but not least, if you're interested in any other sort of short clips or funny moments from streams and whatnot for RuneScape, there is a link to my shorts channel in the description below. Let's try and push that sub count up. So if that does sound interesting to you, make sure to go and sub to that channel. But otherwise, let's get started. So to start this off, I wanted to just mention basically where this whole topic has come from for myself. During the month of December, there has actually been a lot of stuff come to the game that would benefit you if you did have a lot of alts. That being said, there has also been a lot of people that have made a hell of a lot of alt accounts as well to take advantage of these things. However, we're not only going to talk about whether it was good during the month of December to have an alt account. The main reason I wanted to talk about this is overall, in general, are alt accounts kind of overpowered to have, or whether they are worth your time investing in them anyway. And we will get to that and we will talk about that. But yeah, this month has been absolutely crazy. With the golden party hat, we have had a lot of people creating alt accounts, of course, as you can make one party hat per account. And of course, if you create a new account, give it a bond for membership, you can then use that account to go ahead and farm out another golden party hat on that account. So there's no limit to what you can do with this. You can literally make 50 accounts, 100 accounts, 200 accounts, whatever you want to do, and give them all bonds, assuming you have the money to supply that. I know plenty of people who have done this and they have made like 30 to 50, maybe even up to 100 accounts so that they can get golden party hats, put them all on their main account and just have that as wealth. They will probably hang on to most of those and sell them off if the price goes up, or a lot of people has sold them off when the price was a bit higher and they've made a really good amount of money. And a lot of people are saying, like, why would I do anything except for literally just farm golden party hats on 20 accounts at once or something crazy like that, when I could be making this amount of money per hour by doing this, and it's pretty much guaranteed to happen. So there's been that, and then there's also been the green Santa hat event. The green Santa hat event. This is a whole entire new video that we could talk about with this, but we will do if you guys are interested in hearing my point, my take, or whatever, my opinion on this. Let me know in the comments and I will consider that. However, the Green Santa Hat event is basically, it started off with go out, do skilling, do any sort of combat, gain any XP in any way. Every couple of minutes you will get some wrapping paper added to your currency pouch, and then you can hand that in for 200 each and you can get yourself a randomized present. If you get a golden present, you're either going to get a green Santa hat or 50 mil cash, and then you can get all the other presents from white, blue and purple, and then they would also have a chance of getting the green Santa hat as well. But let's be honest, most of you guys listening to this right now already know all this. You know how this worked. But if you had an alt account, you could farm this wrapping paper twice as fast, as it was a time-gated thing. It was just gain at least one experience point every, I believe it was 3 minutes. I could be wrong on this, but I believe every 3 minutes you could gain one more experience point and you would get the wrapping paper that you would need. So if you had 10 or 20 accounts all gaining experience at the same time, as soon as that ticked over, you wouldn't just get one lot of wrapping paper, you would get 20 lots of wrapping paper, meaning that having alt accounts for this is ridiculously good. I personally was mining a hell of a lot on my alt account and doing a lot of the AFK skilling stuff that I need to do for the series to level up, because I was gaining wrapping paper on there. And anytime I got any presents, if I did happen to get a green Santa hat, I would have just traded that off to my main or keepsaked it or something and then traded it off eventually. And then I was doing the same thing on my main account as well. I was logged in on both accounts, doing whatever I could to keep them both going. At one point I was mining in the same place on both accounts at the same time, just because I was editing videos and I figured, you know what, why not gain this wrapping paper anyway? And now that this event is sort of coming towards an end, the new treasure hunter, the new treasure hunter that Jagex has added into the game, I'm trying to not get away from the point on this. The new treasure hunter basically is really, really good in the way that you can probably get yourself a green Santa hat easier doing this than actually doing the Christmas event or the Christmas event. And while you do this, you can also get unlimited oddments. If you convert everything you get and only pick the highest rarity prizes, you will be able to get unlimited oddments, unless you get really unlucky. That being said, there is a 30 key limit cap on treasure hunter keys on the oddment store. So on the oddment store you can buy more keys, but like I say, there's a 30 limit cap on that per day. However, if you have 2 accounts, your cap is 60. If you have 3 accounts, your cap is 90, and as you can sort of see where this is going. Every alt account you have gives you an extra daily 30 keys that you can buy from that. Considering you will always have unlimited oddments if you convert all of those keys or whatever you use into oddments, assuming you're not converting a green Santa hat, of course, and you just keep spinning and spinning and spinning, or whatever, opening chests, whatever you call it these days, you are going to just be able to keep opening these chests. Now, of course, these alt accounts are going to need to have bonds on them, so at some point it is not going to be worth having 20 alt accounts purely for Treasure Hunter or purely for this event. But if you do get one Santa hat, two Santa hats, it will likely pay back and more for whatever you've actually put into this. So yes, throughout December, a lot of people have been getting a lot of alt accounts made and also putting time into them as well, and just sort of AFKing the skills up to get the wrapping paper and just doing other stuff with them too, taking advantage of Treasure Hunter and all the event and stuff, and also farming out golden party hats. So December's been a month that has really pushed the amount of alts in the game. That being said, once December is over, once this event is done, once the golden party hat is no longer available, are alt accounts still going to be worth your time? Well, we will get to that very soon, but I can safely say that for the month of December, if you did create an alt account, it was probably worth your time. Alt accounts during December have been overpowered. I have been using both of my accounts every single day to make sure I get at least 66 treasure hunter keys, I believe it is, and that's with like nearly no effort whatsoever. Log in, buy them off the oddment store, use the free daily ones, that sort of stuff is literally no effort whatsoever. Also, getting double amount of wrapping paper to hand in, so rather than AFKing for an hour and only getting like 5 presents, I've been getting 10, for example. I don't know the exact numbers, but yeah, you know what I mean. And then also, yeah, while I've been AFKing stuff, I've been progressing my account for a series, but I've also been making money on that account, which I then could have just funneled directly onto my main account, which we'll be talking about very soon for future stuff. But yes, during December, or at this very moment in time, alt accounts are kind of overpowered. Alright, so moving away from just this month, what about in the future? What about when there's not any events like this? Well, they're kind of important as well, but we'll get to that. In the future, yes, alt accounts are still going to be overpowered. The reason being is they just give you access to so much stuff in the game that you can feed onto one account, your main account, and it really doesn't cost you that much. At the moment, for example, you can still do the event with Treasure Hunter where you can get basically unlimited oddments on a free-to-play account. You can still convert everything, you can still get all those oddments. So if you technically went out now, there's going to be so many people probably doing this. If you go out now and make 50 accounts, you could then do all 50 of those accounts every single day, convert all of those like prizes into oddments, and then have those oddments ready for anything in the future. Now, you could spend them all on this one, and you could definitely do that, and I'm sure people will be doing that. However, like I say, even if this event wasn't a thing, there is always times, for example, loot duels themselves tend to always give you more oddments anyway. I usually do buy 30 keys every time loot duels are around and just basically convert everything, because you do tend to get more oddments. So this is only one thing that you can do on alt accounts that's going to benefit you for the future. If someone had 50, 60 alt accounts or whatever all ready for this event, this Green Santa event, and they just literally farm the absolute living hell out of this treasure hunter event, they would be getting 1,500 treasure hunter keys every single day just from using oddments. This is crazy. That's crazy. Think about how many Santa hats you could actually get yourself from doing that. And those are still pretty damn expensive, whether they've crashed in price or not. This is just something you could do. You could do this right now and miss out on the Santa hat thing, but still come out of it with 50 accounts full of oddments, and then anytime that Jagex does anything like this in the future with an overpowered treasure hunter event, you could just do the exact same thing. Log into all those accounts, spin like crazy on the treasure hunter, get the unlimited oddments, and just keep doing it. Whether you do this throughout the year on just every time they do loot duels or something like that, so you keep your oddments and only claim like expensive things such as what, the 200 mil cash prize or whatever the cash prize is these days, you could definitely do that and then just trade all that money over to a main. This is something that just seemed a little bit overpowered. But anyway, let's move away from Treasure Hunter right now. Let's just move away from Treasure Hunter because you guys can see how overpowered this could be. No matter what Jagex does in the future, they could add another event like the Green Santa. Anything that has really high value tokens and whatnot, let's just move away from that. I did want to talk about specifically, outside of that sort of thing, whether it would still be worth your time, and I really do think it would be. So let's talk about that now. So going back to the point about talking about if you had an alt account, you can still feed everything you do onto one account, your main account. If you are someone who's returning to RuneScape 3 and you know how the game works, but you are someone who is wanting to get back into it and start from scratch, I would probably suggest you should just make like 2 or 3 accounts. Why not? If you're just doing AFK skills like mining, or you're doing woodcutting, or anything that makes a little bit of money, you may as well do that on 3 accounts at the same time. It's super AFK. You can click on all the rocks, you can click on all the freaking trees and stuff together, and you can feed all that money onto your main account. Why wouldn't you do this? Jagex allows this to happen. It's okay. It's not against the rules to have 2 accounts and trade between them. You can definitely do that, and you can also log on to the same world. It used to be that you couldn't go on the same world on 2 accounts at the same time. It wouldn't let you on the same IP address unless you found some random file on your PC somewhere and deleted that, because that's what was stopping you, because it was against the game rules. But they've removed that and changed that rule, and you can still now have multiple accounts. If you want to be someone who literally plays on just 10, 20 or 30 accounts at the same time, you can do this. You do run the risk of kind of being spotted out as a bot farm, for example, and you can kind of get in trouble for that, or like a real world trader, but the chances of that happening aren't that high. And I'm sure there's someone watching here that does play like this. They can confirm that they've probably run 10, 20 accounts or whatever, and they have not been banned on any of them. You can do this, and you can feed all that money to the main account, and it's something you can do. So as a new player, you could definitely do that. You could do, when you're leveling up your mining on your main account, you may as well have 2 accounts there next to you, mining at the same time, just feeding that money. And then once you're doing other stuff on your main account, why not keep those accounts running, mining the same spot, mining whatever they can, doing anything that's super AFK and makes a little bit of extra money. You can just throw that onto your main account, and you can do this on free to play as well. You don't have to put a bond on this account to be able to make any extra money, but it will still be more beneficial to someone who is a lower level, getting 3 times the resources than just the 1 that you're getting on your main account. So every time you get 1 ore on your main, you're getting 2 on the other 2 accounts, and you can throw that to your main, and you've just got 3 ores basically per ore that you would have normally had. That is, of course, a very lower level thing, and I'm sure most new players won't be doing this, but anyone who's starting over could do, and it is an option. It still is kind of overpowered to be able to have that option for you to do. You could just basically triple, quadruple, whatever amount of accounts that you can run or can be bothered running to your resources as you level up a new account. That being said, in members worlds, it is really not that difficult to make upwards of 5 to 10 mil, 15 mil an hour, depending on what's happening in the game at the time, on an account with nearly no levels. If you had 10 accounts with maybe base 50, maybe even base 40 stats, I can probably safely say that you could easily make about 5 to 10 mil an hour doing things that are fairly AFK. Now, of course, if you did manage to make up to 10 mil an hour, you could get yourself a bond on the ridiculous current prices of bonds at the moment up for 6 hours. 6 hours out of the 2 weeks that you have per bond to actually make some money, and you would be making pure profit after that. Of course, once that's done, the accounts are self-sufficient. 6 hours in 2 weeks for the people who are doing this and committing to this can absolutely turn a fortune. And people are doing this, honestly, they really are. Now, normally, bonds are not 60 mil each. They have gone up an absolute ton, and that's with the events and the treasure hunter stuff lately. They've just, the Premier Club, so many things have pushed bond prices up ridiculously at the moment, and they will likely come back down a little bit, making it even easier to sustain an account. But as long as when you're making these accounts and you're using the alt accounts, you're doing stuff that is also putting XP into a skill, whether it's a little bit of experience or not, you can eventually unlock better methods which will allow you to make up to 10 to 15 mil an hour, depending on what you're doing, slightly AFK. Even if it's not fully AFK, if you're running 10 accounts and you're just like partially AFK, but you're making 10 to 15 mil an hour, that's like 150 mil an hour that you can funnel into your main account as long as you've covered your bond. Like, it is insane how much you can actually do with these accounts, and that is just money making. Not to mention that every account has its own Grand Exchange buy limit. If you're someone who likes to do flipping, you can get past all the buy limits and stuff. You have more access to getting like a frick ton of Viswax that you can do daily as well. All the daily stuff like shop runs that make you a lot of money, because an account in a member's world can keep its bond active just by doing daily shop runs every single day. You can do that. You can absolutely do that. Shop runs, Viswax, that will cover your membership on your bonds just by doing that daily. So if you did that on every single account, you would cover your bond, and then anything you did in the extra time, you would be able to funnel directly to your account. You get the extra buy limits, you get the extra daily shop runs, you get more Viswax, you get your daily 2 treasure hunter keys just from logging in. And also when they do things like events like the Christmas calendar, for example, you'll also get prizes on every single account. A lot of those do tend to be like XP lamps and stars and stuff, so it's not a huge deal, but honestly, there is so much stuff you can get just from having alt accounts. It is unreal. Now, of course, running alt accounts isn't the easiest, most passive, most AFK thing to do. And I am planning on doing a video in the near future where I go through and make like 10 or 20 brand new alt accounts and see what I can do with them in a couple of hours. And honestly, that should make quite an interesting video. But I just wanted to say, like, alt accounts at the moment, guys, if you do not have one and you are just doing stuff that is AFK and you're not really doing anything on the side, you're not just AFKing RuneScape and doing something else, playing a different game or whatever, make an alt account. Just do anything that's completely AFK. Just AFK some woodcutting, AFK some mining. Eventually, you're going to have an account that can do mining for a couple of mil an hour. You can do things like woodcutting that's going to be a decent amount of money every hour when you're not really doing anything else. And honestly, if you have that effort, that attention span, because this is not going to be for everybody, it really isn't, you should definitely have one. But even for you guys that are thinking, I cannot be bothered just doing that for a little bit, like 2 mil extra an hour or whatever on one other account, I would still suggest having one alt account at least, because when things like this come up with the Christmas event and you've got the extra wrapping paper you can get or extra daily keys for the treasure hunter, like for the green Santa hat and stuff, you will have access to that alt account. Jagex will add stuff to the game now and then where alt accounts become ridiculously overpowered, and you may as well have that account ready to just log in and do that. So I would suggest having one, even if it's just one, just to leave around until stuff does happen. But for the time it will take you to make one, and just to get through like a couple of base skills or whatever, you probably should just grab one. It will help you out a lot in the long run, especially if you just think like, oh, an alt would be really useful here. Luckily, I've got one. It's just, yeah, like a little while ago, Jagex fed every account in the game like 10k oddments for no reason because they made a mistake on something. No matter what, as long as your account existed, you got 10k oddments. Even if it was made like 1 day prior, they also got 10k oddments. So this is the sort of thing that you want to keep your alt account around for, because you just never know when Jagex is going to be like, hey, look, more gifts of the offering. Here you go, everybody that didn't get included in this issue. You're still going to get it. Anyway, overall, alt accounts, yes, they are freaking overpowered. They are strong as hell. And the very final thing I want to talk about, because I know this is really freaking long and I didn't want it to be, is why is this okay for Jagex? Well, we've been talking about it quite a lot through this video. It sells bonds. People need to buy bonds to fund these accounts, or people use the accounts to buy membership. They'll just buy membership for them themselves. It sells membership, it sells bonds, and if there's no demand for bonds with people just like using them all for alt accounts or whatever, then bonds would not be worth as much money, and people wouldn't buy bonds just to get some GP in game because it wouldn't be worth the value. The bonds would still be the same price in real life, but the amount of gold you get from doing that would be a lot lower, and so less people will be buying bonds. At the moment, people are going to be buying bonds for gold because they're at 60 mil each. But when they were at 20 mil each, a lot less people would have been buying bonds for that gold because it didn't give as much back. So it makes sense that if they allow people to have 50 accounts that all need 50 bonds, they're going to shoot the demand of bonds up right through the roof. And a lot more people are going to be buying bonds to cover that demand and also make a bit more money. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think about this in the comments down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Thank you to the channel members for your extra support. Your names will be on screen right now. I really do appreciate it. If anyone else is interested in joining channel members, click the join button, by the sub button. But otherwise, I'm going to end this video because it's been long as hell. And I'll see you all in the next one. See you later, guys. Bye.